except you were sitting in, and they were sitting on the edge. Okay, now I didn't want to go on the escalator.
That I remember doing that.
I'm saying this one's like, wow! Do this all day long. Yeah. Even Jane said
We love a good honk.
Yeah, but he voted the wrong way.
But she doesn't know when she's getting it here.
Well, we're going to... I don't care what I look like. Yeah, very kidding. I know she's not from here. She's over there. She's trying to figure it out.
Have you guys talked about this?
no, you should be giving this to us.
Hey, Paula, that's your name, you here.
It's a beautiful day for a rally and a beautiful day to send a message. We're here today to talk about public services, and we're here today to talk about democracy. Because when it comes to the Harper government in Ottawa, they seem to have forgotten the definition of democracy. The issue at hand is the decision by our municipal council 3 months ago to build the southeast leg of the light rail transit system here in Edmonton as a P3. There are those who call P3s public-private partnerships, but I think it's more appropriate, based on what we know about them, to call them picking the public pocket. So we've got concerns about P3s on many levels. We know from experience here in Alberta, across the country, and indeed across the world, that money is not saved by taxpayers or by governments by opting for a P3 model for developing public sector infrastructure. It just doesn't work. We also know that what's being proposed is on the face of it absurd, because we have a functioning, high-quality transit system here in Edmonton that's run by the public sector, by public sector workers who provide high-quality services to the city of Edmonton. And what they're proposing is to tack on a new leg to a system that already works, a leg that will be run by for-profit operators, a leg that will not be integrated into the system that already exists. This is completely absurd. But there is a more fundamental concern about what has happened in this city, and it's a concern about democracy. Because the decision that was made by our city council to opt for a P3 model for developing this important piece of public sector infrastructure was not a decision that was made in the broader public interest. It is not a decision that was actually made willingly by elected members of city council who are elected by Edmontonians and are accountable to them. It was a decision that was made with a gun to their heads. And this is not the way that democracy should operate in a country like Canada. So the question is, who put that gun to our city councilors' heads? And the short answer is our Prime Minister, Stephen Harper. So what happened in this council is shameful, but it is indicative and characterizes the approach that the Harper government has taken to the administration of the federal government, and increasingly the way that they deal with other levels of government at the provincial and municipal level. They basically held our city council, other municipal governments, and citizens of this country hostage because they are stewards of billions of dollars in money that comes from taxpayers like you and me, but they're putting ridiculous conditions on how that money can be spent. In particular, they're saying that taxpayers who have contributed to this money that's available for public sector infrastructure will not have a say in how that money will be used to build that infrastructure. And in fact, they're saying that there's only one way, our way, the private way, to develop public sector infrastructure, even if council doesn't want it, even if there's information showing that it doesn't work. So we're here to say that Harper, it's time to take that gun away from the heads of municipal governments. But even more importantly, we have a message for our city council, okay? Because we understand that they were bullied. We understand that they were pressured. We understand that they were pushed. But there's a municipal election coming up in October, and what we're saying to our members of our city council is that while we sympathize with the position that they were put in, it's time for them, as our elected representatives, to stand up to the bully and do it before the next. Today we have a few speakers who have been grappling with this issue and fighting for the right of municipal governments to make the kind of decisions that they need to make in support of their own interests and the citizens that they represent.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. It's great to see everybody out. And I'm here today to speak about the southeast leg of the LRT and keeping it public. It needs to stay public. I'm going to talk about the Harper government. I'm going to talk about the provincial government. I'm going to talk about council, and I am going to talk about success story and what we can do to fight this and to stop this. The first thing is the Harper government. Democracy, transparency. They're not living up to any of those things that they said. By doing this as a P3, it's hidden in documents, legal documents, pages and pages and pages, and it does not help the community, because where do the profits go? The profits go into private companies who run it to make a profit. It's shame. I watched Alison Redford state at the end of the year for the new year. She talked about P3s. She talked about how they were the efficient way to spend money. They are not the efficient way to spend money. They cost more. They cost more over the long term, and our taxes don't have a say in how that money is spent. And then Edmonton City Council is not going to get off the hook either, because I do sympathize. Their hands were tied. But I have an example. And this isn't transit, this is water. And this is Abbotsford, BC, and I'm taking us back to 2011. In 2011, they wanted to privatize their water. And they stood up, and they formed a coalition, and they fought it. And they had a referendum, because guess what? Elections were up, municipal elections. And the referendum, 74% of the people in Abbotsford said no to private water, to keep it public. Here in Edmonton, 64% in a poll said no to private transit, keep public. And Alent was saying elections came and the mayor of Abbotsford was gone. Councillors that supported P3 is gone. That's what we can do, brothers and sisters, when we stand together. Solidarity, let's fight this.
We all know that P3s are very dangerous deals for municipalities to sign. For-profit corporations take the very core services that governments provide, then run them with one thing and one thing only in mind, and that is the bottom line. The City of Edmonton is in the business of providing these services. It's not the job of the city to turn over these services to the lowest bidder. The city needs to provide safe, affordable transportation to our communities. There's a cost to this, and experience shows that these confusing backroom deals only add to the cost, reduce service levels and accountability. Transit links this city. Let's not break this link. When they decided the P3 option was a bad idea, they voted against it. Kudos to our council for standing up. And then Stephen Harper told them they would only get federal dollars if they changed their tune. They had little choice. Do we want an LRT station with burnt out lights, excess graffiti, poor security because the private operator wants to cut costs? No! Do we want the LRT platform that, as I turn over to the next page, yeah, I'm trying to. Do we want the LRT platform that has no heat because the owner takes his time fixing the heater tubes? No! Do we want delayed trains because track maintenance is kept to a minimum? I think not. Public funding of and operation of public projects creates good quality public services. Don't sell our services to the lowest bidder. You heard talk about our survey. You can find it on ourlrt.ca. As the survey shows, 61% of the respondents have a problem with the federal government forcing the city to privatize the LRT in order to get the federal funding. So how can Stephen Harper and the Conservatives hold municipalities hostage with these transfer monies that are earmarked for infrastructure development by saying you have to use a public-private partnership in order to qualify? 57% also say that turning over the LRT to a private company means there will be no accountability when things go wrong, since they, and this is the quote from the poll, since I won't be able to call my elected official. P3s should be called P4s, as I mentioned earlier today. The public pays while privates profit. And a recent FCM, one that this very council is a member of, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities study, it shows that for every P3 succeeds, 100 fail. The public is rarely involved or included when these P3 deals are signed. This isn't about privatizing our core services, but more about corporatizing the very services that municipalities are obliged to provide. One final thing, poo-poo on the P3s. Thanks.
Wow, that's one of my lines. Poo-poo on P3, yeah, poo-poo on P3. Poo-poo on the Harper government telling our city councilors what to do. Who's running this city, the Harper government? Our city council making decisions for us? It's a question that needs to be answered. Take note, Edmontonians, nearly 2/3 of you disagree with the decision to privatize any Southeast LRT, pardon me. I think that turning over the operations of the Southeast LRT to a private corporation is the correct decision. 64% of Edmontonians disagreed with that. If a private corporation is running one of the LRT lines, then this could lead to problems with integrating operations such as scheduling or ticket prices. You want to know it, that P3 operator, their only concern is this, the bottom line, the money, what they're taking out of the system. They don't care how safe it is. They don't care who's operating and maintaining it. And ATU has been operating and maintaining the service and providing it to the citizens of Edmonton for over 100 years. Why change that now? I am concerned about a reduced quality of maintenance and services I earlier spoke about. Bill, flip the chart. Thank you very much. Letting the LRT run by a private company means costs will increase since the company will want to earn a profit. Yes, there's no proven P3 project that has over 30 years. There's no proven. There's no numbers that prove that
What am I thinking about here? They want money. The bottom line is money. There will be no accountability. Who are we going to talk to when something goes wrong with the service? Are we going to phone the privateer up? The private privateer? He doesn't care. Flipping. The survey. I have no problem with the federal government forcing the city of Edmonton to privatize part of the LRT in order to get federal funding. 61% disagree with that. 61 of Edmontonians disagree. That's a huge number. Who are the councillors serving? The Harper government or the citizens of Edmonton? Edmontonians are proud of our public transit system and have many questions and concerns about a private corporation running one of these lines separately. When you remove experience, you effectively remove service, and that is a recipe for failure. Poo-poo on P3.
I'd say go Flames go, but we know that's not happening. Go Edmonton, what? On behalf of the affiliates of the ATU Canada, we want to thank you all for supporting the fight of our sister local 569. Of course, like all attacks on labor, the Harper government's model of the P3 is everyone's fight. It's not just 569's fight. And of course, attacks on organized labor. This is not just an attack on organized labor, it's an attack on all working families, and in fact, in this particular case, it's an attack on all taxpayers, all working people in Canada. This battle just happens to be a direct hit on the ATU family, the same type of hits that QP and other unions have been seeing for a very long time. And I think that the same as all public services, or the vast majority of public services, privatizing doesn't work. For-profit does not work. It simply does not work, and there's a lot of reasons why. The profitable lines in an LRT system, public transit system, they actually fund all of the other lines. So, like every other thing that they privatize, if the government has privatized or done the P3s on, it hurts a certain class of people. The taxation system hurts a certain class of people. The public transportation system, and council knew this when they took their vote. All the profitable lines fund those underlying lines and the lower ridership lines. Those lines are traditionally used by people that have to use them. A businessman or businesswoman that has to go downtown during rush hour can take an LRT or can afford to park downtown. That service is going to be there when it's going to be cost effective. Those runs that are subsidized by those heavily utilized lines will disappear. And the regular service on those will disappear. The frequency of service will disappear. And who does that involve? It involves working families, working mothers, children and students, and all of those other class of people that don't have options. The vast majority of public transit users don't have options. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And for them to farm that out, I would say that council made the decision with a gun to their head, but I think it was a cowardly decision. I think they should have took the hit. The hit would have been short-lived. This will be forever. And I suspect if you look at council's history, they probably served 2, maybe 3 terms, 6 years, 9 years, and then they move on. The decisions they've made are going to cripple council for years and years to come, and then they will not be able to, because of these ironclad contracts, change it back to a system that is affordable. They'll be digging deeper in other areas to try and fund those riderships that have to have the rides, and I hope you do show that at the ballot box. Thank you very much.
A big mouth. They asked for $400 million and received $250. I'd like to know where or how much of that $250 million is going to the Southeast LRT Governance Committee. I'd like to know that. There's a question that needs to be answered. The other thing is, Mike, I appreciate what you're saying there. Once this council's through, who knows? They'll never be able to make a change. And I would be remiss if I didn't stand here and thank Gil McGowan for hosting this today and letting me speak, for Public Interest Alberta, Edmonton District Labour Council, QP Local 30, all of our affiliates, Canadian Council, thanks Mike, 583 for showing up, and 569, did I forget anybody? Yes, I have. I forgot Parkland Institute, and I also would be remiss if I didn't say the Edmonton Transit Riders Union. Thanks you all very much for supporting this, and let's give them hell.
Sisters and brothers, my name is Darren Billis, and I'm one of 4 New Democrat MLAs, proud to stand in solidarity with you today. We all know that P3s are inherently flawed. We know they cost more, there's a lack of transparency, there are additional caveats that they put on as far as the operation as well. The fact that they're trying to privatize the southeast leg of the LRT is going to affect all of us. Not only in our pockets, but it's going to affect us, us working families and us in the labor community. And so, it's shameful that Harper put a gun to City Council's head. They originally voted, they opposed the P3 model, yet they were forced to adopt it. And so, in my opinion, not only is that shameful, but that is directly an attack on public services that should be publicly funded and publicly operated. And so my message to you today, sisters and brothers, is that there is a party that stands with labor, that stands with you on the picket lines, that sits with you in your meetings, and that will represent you in the Alberta legislature. And that is the Alberta NDP, and we will continue to fight on behalf of labor and to ensure that not only your voices are heard, but that we work toward positive change and making this province and this country the country that it can be. And so my message to you today is that we have our voices and we have our actions, but remember, sisters and brothers, if whether it's Council or Harper or Redford make decisions that are not in the public interest, then we do have the power, and we have that power through our vote. So keep in mind not only the municipal election this fall, but if Harper wants to continue to bully municipalities and provinces, then there's only one thing that you can do with a bully, and that's to stand up to the bully and put him out. So I want to thank the AFL and QP and all the affiliates and locals that are here today. My partner as well, Rachel Notley, is here, and Brian Mason's going to be speaking shortly this afternoon. Again, we stand in solidarity with you and will continue to fight on your behalf.
This is not just an issue about administration. It's not just an issue about housekeeping inside City Hall. This is fundamentally a political issue, and we have to get involved in the political process to fix it. Our first opportunity is going to be in the municipal election coming up in October. We have to make this an issue in this city and with the candidates running for office during that municipal election campaign. So everyone who's here, I encourage you to get involved with the Edmonton District Labour Council to elect people who will reverse this ridiculous deal. But it's not just a municipal issue. We've got a provincial government that is committed to building future public sector infrastructure projects using P3 models. We have to make it an issue at the provincial level. And of course, and probably most importantly, we have to make sure that the people of Edmonton, the people of Alberta, and the people of Canada understand that the Harper government is not acting in the public interest. He's misusing public dollars, and he's forcing an ideology down on people who don't want it. So we need to make this an issue at the municipal level, the provincial level, but especially at the national level, to make sure that we have a government that actually represents Canadians and stands up for Canadian values and defends the public interest rather than the private interest. So please support this campaign. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, Harper's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Harper's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Harper's got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Harper's got to go.